You're watching the Red Line Radio Network.
Renegades! Let's ride! Steel City Renegades lead the way! Listen up, now they got a lot to say. Dynamite Dave and that loudmouth D's. Renegades bringing it if you please. Turn it up, hear the whole world say. Whoa, Steel City Renegades. Black and gold, legends never fade. Whoa, turn it loud, let it play. Renegades rule the airwaves. From the Steeler Nation we rise and say, here we go, Steelers. Here we
Steel City Renegades. Good Sunday morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Deez, and over there next to me, Dynamite Dave. We are 1 week deep into Pittsburgh Steelers training camp. Dave, how you feeling this morning?
Oh, Deez, I am feeling fantastic because I just found out today that the Steelers are padding up on Monday. So the Steelers are going full pads on Monday, and watching some videos from the stars of the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers and TJ Watt. A lot has changed in the Steelers camp this year. They're in the same spot. But listen to this. Mike McCarthy took out all the benches for the players. He doesn't want any players sitting down on any benches. If you're on the sidelines, you're there to stand and pay attention to what's going on the field. And he also played a video that he had custom made from when he started as a boy, where he grew up in Pittsburgh, played it to everybody on the team, and everybody got hype. Just what TJ Watt said. Aaron Rodgers talked about how very, very close he was to retiring, which he was 99% sure that he was going to retire. He talked it over with his wife, and she said, well, if Mike's coming back and you want to go play, that's completely up to you. So the ball was in Aaron's court, and as he progressively talked to Mike McCarthy throughout the process of him coming back, you see who's back. Number 8, Aaron Rodgers, back with us for 22nd season, and everybody's asking him, is this your last? And he absolutely says 100% this is his last. D's, listen, I sound stoked because I am. Fresh air in the room in Pittsburgh. Let's go. Let's get this team on the field. Let's see what they can do. I'm excited, man. I really am.
No, that's one of the things I was going to bring up is you can literally see it and hear it when anytime that they've asked a player, especially a defensive, well, actually both sides of the ball, because they're excited for different reasons, but you can feel the excitement that the players have with the new coaching staff, with the new systems in place. I really got a kick out of both Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson's reaction when they asked him about the new defense and about Patrick Graham, and they just lit up. You know, like you can tell that they're excited for the change, that they like the change. I've been saying this since day one when they hired Patrick Graham, that this defense was far too talented to be middle of the road, so to speak. And I think that Patrick Graham is going to take advantage of more talent than he's ever had in his career. and do good things. Now, keep in mind, as we go through today's show and we talk about things that are happening in camp, these are overreactions. Okay. It's 1 week in, there's a long way to go. For example, when I say that all reports are showing that Will Howard is doing a great job so far in camp, that doesn't mean he's the number 2 quarterback yet. He's still got to get in a game, still got to prove it on the field, and he's still facing an extremely uphill battle. I'd like to see him keep 4. I don't know if that's going to be possible. Obviously, injuries are going to play a big part in that as we progress through camp. Who comes out healthy? And Dave, you and I speculated yesterday on Unscripted, also here on Redline Radio, for those of you that don't know. We speculated about the signing of what's his name again? The Brown
Rayshawn Jenkins.
Yeah, Rayshawn Jenkins, a 10, 11-year vet. Last played in Cleveland. He's a safety, solid player. And we speculated that maybe Jalen Ramsey is a little more hurt than they're actually letting on, but it come to find out that it may not be Jalen Ramsey at all. Looks like Darnell Savage has missed a significant amount of time in the last 2 days. So maybe that's where the Jenkins signing comes in. And if they got Jenkins at a vet minimum contract, that's a hell of a pickup.
They did. They got him for around $2.1 million. And you talk about Darnell Savage. That's exactly what the Steelers signed him for. So they basically traded one contract for another. Savage, I don't know if he's going to make this team. There was some problem with, him signing. He signed real late. He had a verbal agreement. It took him well into the offseason for him to actually put name to paper to the contract. But I'm excited about Rayshawn Jenkins. I was watching some highlights, and the guy can play. And you know what? D's is depth. It's depth. That's what we got too. It's always nice to have another piece, somebody to step up. And another thing, he already knows the AFC North, so he knows how the AFC North plays football. He's a hard hitter. He played in Jacksonville, so he's familiar with the AFC, and that's big. I'm a big fan of the signing. I really am. And he's 30 years old, so he can play corner and he can play safety.
Well, he's either got huge balls or he's not very bright, though, because last year, if you remember, he got a personal foul against the Steelers when he played for Cleveland because he was talking shit to Darnell Washington. And if there's anybody that you shouldn't talk shit to, it'd be that mountain of a man. But again, it's a great depth signing. Darnell Savage, I believe part of the reason that he couldn't sign a contract was a physical issue, that he hadn't been cleared or passed a team physical. I think that was one of the hangups. So keep an eye on that situation. That might turn out to be something where he just doesn't make the team. That's why they acted fast, rather than wait around to get somebody off the scrap heap. They went out and they got a proven veteran who can come in and be the 3 or 4 safety, and thankfully, at least so far, it doesn't look like Jalen Ramsey is more injured than we initially heard about.
Yeah, Deez, you hit the nail right on the head. And like I said, depth. That's always nice to have in the NFL because, like Mike Tomlin used to say, next man up. And we're talking about Mike Tomlin real quick. Another thing that pointed out with TJ Watt is he said that the vibe is way different than what Tomlin had over there. No music being played on the field. None of that stuff. Is strictly business. Everybody learning the offense. Everybody learning that Patrick Graham defense. And he kind of hinted around that he's going to be moving around a lot more this year, which he said he takes a little bit of blame for, the defense that was there before where he didn't want to move around. But he says that Patrick Graham has made him look at the defensive schemes a little bit different than what they had before. So I'm excited. They also said something too about, him being compared to Myles Garrett and all these other players. And he said, listen, my focus is getting this playbook down on defense and Super Bowl. If I'm compared to the greats, I'm compared to the greats. My job is to be a Pittsburgh Steeler going into my 10th year, getting this team to where it needs to go, and I want to compete for a Super Bowl. He goes, the rest will fall in place. He goes, we got a great defense. I'm confident in them. And Watt has talked about that throughout training camp. And he says that everybody around there is more energetic than they have been for a while. So again, Deez, I'm very, very excited about what this season holds for the Steelers. Whether it's a winning season or losing season, I'm still excited fresh voice.
Well, the perfect example of that when we're talking about TJ Watt, we've been banging our fucking hands on the table, telling him to flop sides. Thought it was a Tomlin thing, and turns out it was more of a TJ thing, and he admits that. But in the 11 on 11 yesterday, TJ Watt lined up on the opposite side, and then when the ball was snapped, he dropped into coverage and he picked off Aaron Rodgers on a beautifully designed hidden blitz package. So we're already seeing signs of this exotic defense. Yeah,
Thank you, Patrick Graham. Thank you, Patrick Graham.
Yeah, the talent has. I've said this all along, man. That they were probably a little overpaid in the grand scheme of things, or paid too much, however you want to classify it as. But you can't pay that defense that kind of money and then basically just have them go out and play vanilla the whole time. You had Darius Slay come out and say that the corners were instructed to always play outside leverage in hopes that the defensive line would bat passes down. And we saw what happened against Cincinnati. We got destroyed on slant routes. And Patrick Graham isn't that way. He's going to play, it's kind of, you're playing the man in front of you, not, you're playing your scheme no matter what. And I think that is going to prove to be very, very effective for this team with the talent level they have. I mean, I get angry because I watch all these national guys get on TV and talk about, Pittsburgh's going to be third at best, and they're, not going to win 8 or 9 games, this, that, and the other. They don't know anything. We won 10 games last year. Now, looking at 22 offensive and defensive starting positions, there's only one I can think of right now off the top of my head, but name a position, a specific position where the team got worse. And maybe we don't even know that for certain. On paper,
are you trying to? I would say if any part of the team got worse or took a step back, I would have to say, if I had to guess, special teams, because
no, offense, defense, just 22 players.
Oh, okay. Offense or defense?
There's one position that you could argue may have gotten worse. Everywhere else either stayed the same or on paper got better.
Well, it's definitely not the linebackers, because we brought them guys back. It's definitely not cornerback. It's definitely not safety. Maybe the defensive line? Maybe? No?
I call that improved.
Yeah, that is right, because we did sign Sebastian Joseph Day, which we haven't heard anything from him, but I'm pretty sure there's some videos up there on YouTube if you guys want to check them out. How about Ryan says QB? I don't think we're worse at QB. I think we're just fine at QB. I really do. Let me guess. So tight end?
Left guard.
Okay, left guard.
Left guard. And that is still a maybe, because we moved the last year's right guard over. We basically flip-flopped. We put Fatanu and McCormick on the left side now. And right now, Spencer Anderson, as of the first week, is pretty much entrenched in the right guard spot. So it looks like Hoffman and Jennings Dunker are going to be kind of battling for the backup spot. Granted, we don't have pads on yet. We don't know. It's week 1 of the camp. So that could change, but I think Spencer Anderson's got a pretty good grasp on the tackle or the guard position as we sit here today. And then obviously Dylan Cook is in at right tackle, but they are getting Max in. Max is looking good from all reports. Again, it's early. We don't know for certain. Right now, I would say Dylan Cook is probably in that position. And then Broderick Jones, I think still needs to put on some weight, but has looked solid so far. I'm interested to see what's going to happen with him, though, because he says he's around 300 pounds. If you watch video of him, I think he looks smaller than Darnell. Whether or not that,
Well, we are talking about Mount Washington. You're 6'8",
true,
325. So anybody would look small compared to that guy. I mean, he's a big dude, very big.
Fair point. But yeah, they need to get a steady flow of cheeseburgers into Broad. I like Broderick Jones. I really do. I would like to see him, turn this around and come back. And it's a good problem to have if we end up, being too heavy at tackle, so to speak. But I do like Broderick Jones. We'll make him work somewhere that we have to. But again, back to my original point, this team is better. It's better than it was last year. The offense already, you can tell and you can see it on the field. The offense is better. They're using Pat Fryermuth left and right in camp, like killing the middle of the field. Roman Wilson, who I know last year we heard the same kind of stuff, but even the guys that are there, boots on the ground, are saying that it's a different Roman Wilson. Like, you can see that there's some actual chemistry between him and Aaron Rodgers now. And even Aaron talks glowingly about him. And I didn't realize it at the time, but Roman was on that little rodeo trip that they took.
Yes. He talked about that. They asked Aaron about that. He talked about that. He said all the wide receivers were there, which was the first time since he's been in Pittsburgh that they have been there. So he wasn't on the trip last year. And they asked him about DK. He says he's looking forward to coming back with DK. And then he talked about Michael Pittman. He said, what more can you say about Michael Pittman? He's a stud wide receiver. We got him. He goes, some teams are going to feel bad that we got Michael Pittman. So, I mean, Aaron, again, you said it. We won 10 games last year with a sorry offense. If we can't win one more game this year and make us 11-6 and get us into the playoffs, then there's something wrong with this team. Yes, it's a harder schedule this year. Yes, I know it's a new offense. It's a new coaching regime. But there's fire underneath these guys' asses, and you can tell it by their verbiage, how they talk, what they say when the media comes there. I mean, taking the benches out of Latrobe may not be a big thing to us, but if your star player on defense talks about that nobody is to sit down at practice, that tells you something.
Yeah.
And
I think it's going to be night and day. Again, this isn't like a Bash Tomlin power hour here, but it was time for a change. Mike McCarthy is way more, the old saying, it isn't always the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. Sometimes you need those X's and O's. In my opinion, we've had, for the most part, most of the Jimmies and Joes for a long time. We never had the X's and O's, not in Tomlin's entire tenure. And now we got both.
The other thing that I found very interesting that Rodgers had talked about him, he was asked about this, and he said this was one of the deciding factors why he came back too as well. They asked him about the offense that McCarthy runs, and he looks at him and goes, West Coast offense, I've mastered it. I know it inside and out. So it was no brainer to come back when, the opportunity was there. He said, Mike, the day he got hired, Mike reached out to him after his press conference just to see where his mind was about football. And he said that Mike and him talked twice, 3, 4 times a week, gave him his space when he needed. And also, we know that Aaron hasn't talked to his family in a very long time. And you can tell on his face the closure with that and how much more focused he is this year. He got married, I think, last year. First time in 8 years.
Allegedly.
Well, he admitted it. He said he got married last year.
There's people online that are saying that it's a fake, that's all bullshit. I don't believe it. I just think he's that private of a citizen. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, and then him reconnecting with his family and his dad, and that's big for him. That's big. So I'm looking for Rodgers to have a better year this year than what he had last year. Again, we talk about it. He was a top 15 quarterback last year. If he can throw 2 or 3 more touchdown passes, he can be in the top 10 at 42 years old and get us one more win. That's all he needs. Remember, he didn't have DK for the last 4 games of the season. He didn't have him. Or 2 games. I'm sorry. 2 games. He didn't have him for the last 2.
But even when he did, there was nobody else around him.
Exactly.
And you had a coaching staff that was afraid to take advantage of your other best weapon, which is Fryermuth over the middle of the field.
Yeah, you wanted to keep giving Jonnu Smith the football.
Yeah. No, look, if Aaron Rodgers and those key players Pittman and DK, if they all stay healthy, I don't see a world where there's a regression here.
And Deez, sorry, real quick, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, like, unless, something tragic happens, like in week 1 of his Jets debut, I just don't see it. There's no way. I mean, they showed a play the other day where he uncorked one 70 yards on a rope. Roman didn't make the catch because it was, the safety came over and broke it up. But like the arm talent is still top 5 elite. There's no question. Now, again, offensive line, got to see a little bit of improvement. Got to give Aaron time. If Aaron Rodgers gets time, they're going to put 30 a game up.
And I think, too, that's why they drafted the way they did and signed free agent Robert Tonyan the way they did. Because you know what? When you're a quarterback and you're a veteran, just like a head coach, you bring in somebody who you're familiar with. Rodgers and him played together for 2 years in Green Bay. He's very comfortable with him. He also played with Mike McCarthy in Green Bay and then went to Dallas and followed him there. So Rodgers is very comfortable with him, and he knows who's got his back and who essentially he can't trust to have his back. So having Tonyan there as a blocking tight end, which that's primarily what he's going to be used for, and Riley Nowakowski, who's from all reports are that he's doing really good in camp. So he could be your third or fourth tight end. He could be probably your fourth because he's not going to start over Darnell. I mean, so you would probably figure it'd be Pat, Darnell, Tonyan, and Riley Nowakowski, fullback / tight end, kind of like Connor was.
Yeah, he's the new Connor Hayward, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him on the field on the offensive side more than we saw Connor, because Mike McCarthy likes a fullback. You're going to see 21 personnel more than we've seen it since probably Bettis left the team. We're going to see Riley Nowakowski in the backfield, in the eye, in the offset. You're going to see a lot more 11 personnel than 12. Last year, it was like 60% 12. And for those of you that don't know what the difference between 11 and 12, it's 11 would be one back, one tight end. 12 would be one back, two tight ends. 21 would be two backs, one tight end. We were heavy on tight ends last year. This year's not going to be that much. We're still going to run double tight.
Thanks for educating the people out there, Deez, that didn't know about that. Thank you.
Yeah, if you watch any kind of YouTube video, you'll see a lot of these writers talk about 11 personnel, 12 personnel. And, for those of you that play Madden, there's single back or pro formation. There you go. But yeah, you're going to see a lot more of 3 wide out, 1 tight end than we've seen in a long time. And it's up to Mike to get the rotation down as far as bringing in Muth or Darnell or even Tonyan. But the versatility that the offense is going to have, I'm telling you, I'm so excited. And all the hype on Cincinnati, I don't get it. Look, their offense, yes, elite. But our defense has the potential to be elite with that secondary now. You're going to see a different secondary when they're lined up against teams like Cincinnati. It's not going to be old man Darius Slay trying to play outside leverage on Jamar Chase. Like, Patrick Graham is going to take away the good stuff, make them beat us with other things. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there's no shot Cincinnati is even remotely close to a professional level defense. There's nobody there. Like, they're absolute ass, and they're going to have to score 35 to 40 a game.
And here's the other thing that we have not even touched on yet, Deez. They asked Patrick Graham. I mean, the Steelers are actually tackling in practice. It's been a while since the Steelers have practiced that. And that was one of the things Patrick Graham told them. We are going to tackle in practice.
No, there is no live tackling.
Well, they're going to be tackling.
No, they will not. No, McCarthy said there will not be live tackling in camp.
I thought Patrick Queen said that they were going to be tackling in camp.
No. They're hitting, they're physical, but they're not taking them to the ground.
Okay.
That's been the big story this week. Right. And I was going to actually address that. You've got people like in a full-blown panic because there were a few tackling issues now and then. But there's no sense in tackling right now. Nobody tackles in camp. Pittsburgh was one of the last teams to stop live tackling in camp. That doesn't mean that they're out there playing flag football. They're just not trying to get them to the ground. They're physical. Like everybody that sits there and they read articles from your ESPNs and all this stuff, stop doing that. Go follow the local guys, the guys that are literally there every single day, and read the stuff and watch the stuff that they're putting out. And you'll get a much better feel for what is actually going on in Latrobe right now.
Yeah. So, sorry for misunderstanding that. I thought that's what he was talking about.
Yeah, no, the big stink is because the opposite. Like Mike McCarthy said, no, that we're not going to live tackle because the object is to get to September healthy, and I'm behind it. Now, granted, we might all have a nice big shit sandwich come week 1 and Atlanta breaks 32 tackles on us, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Look, the way I see it, at this point in your career, if you're in the NFL and you can't tackle, you shouldn't be in the NFL. I mean, I could understand you might take a quarter or two to get acclimated, but after that, it's just football. It's the same sport that these guys have been playing since they were 5, 6, 7 years old, unless you're Max Ahanator.
Dees, I have a question for you. The way this roster is constructed right now, we added Rayshawn Jenkins a couple days ago. Do you think that despite injury, do you think they'll add any more players to this roster?
I mean, I don't think so, but I wouldn't rule out a wide receiver somewhere along the lines, depending on if somebody big comes open, somebody gets cut or, but barring injury, I don't see it. I don't know where you would go. What is out there that
I'm just asking.
That's yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I just don't know what's out there that right now, if you went out and put a pen to paper, that they come in and make an impact on the team.
So let me ask you this. You talk about wide receiver, and I'm glad you brought that up because one of the names that was linked to Pittsburgh, he went back to San Francisco after the Ricky Parasol injury, was Debo. He went back there on a 1-year deal. I think he signed for like $4.1 million. Is there any veteran wide receivers out there you'd bring in for camp and maybe give them an opportunity? No, none?
Not in my opinion, no. I like what I'm seeing right now with both Jeremy and Roman Wilson. Now if somebody goes down between now and September 13th, whatever it is, then yeah, go out and get one of these guys, because chances are most of these guys are going to be available unless there's a rash of injuries through camp. But most often than not, if guys are available right now, they're going to be available at week 1, unless, again, injuries. That's the reason that they're sitting around waiting. Teams are kind of just playing the hand that they're dealt for now. When they get an injury, they're going to go out, they're going to get somebody. As of right now, I'm pretty happy with where we are as far as our receiving room. And we're even getting some decent performances out of some guys that we don't even know who the hell they are. But if you read like the camp reports every day there's another wide receiver name that popped off and did some good stuff with the first team. The rotation that McCarthy is using, like Lou Nichols played running back with the ones for a considerable amount of time yesterday.
He was up on the active roster for a couple games last year. I know he played some defense, had some, or not defense, but special teams. He had some good special teams tackles. So hopefully we can get Lou to be on this roster for special teams. Because I mean, in Homer, he was a running back. I seen that he was playing on some first team. So everybody's getting a look over there on the first team. And you said it best, Dee's. Like, here's my thing about wide receivers. I personally think you can't have enough weapons. I think the more weapons that you have offensively gets teams a little bit more scared and change their scheme. I would like to see the Steelers maybe add a Stephon Diggs just to see what he's got, just for the camp, and see if he's up to par. But other than that, I'm content with this roster the way it is. Like, You got DK's obviously your number one, Pittman's your number two, Bernard's your number three. Your four is probably Roman. Your five is Skoranek, and maybe one more wide receiver makes this roster.
Weejan.
Weejan, yeah, I forgot about him. So 6 wide receivers, and then you keep 2 running backs, maybe 3 running backs.
I think they'll go 3 backs. I think it's going to be Rico, Jalen, and Caleb. I think Heidenreich's probably going to be a practice squad player. But again, got to keep an eye on, like, Lou Nichols looked really good. Granted, no pads. It's week 1 of camp. But
and you talked about last week. You educated us too about last week about them protecting. How many players was it on the practice squad? 6 players or 4 players you can protect each week. So I mean, maybe Weejan gets protected on that practice squad and nobody can get him because they're gonna keep him around. Him or Heidenreich. I'm sorry,
Heidenreich. Weejan they want because I think Weeden, if he comes out of camp healthy, he's your returner.
Yeah.
They'll work him into some routes and some offensive sets, but he'll basically be the 6th guy off the bench. They might use him in some gimmick stuff because he is dynamic when you get the ball in his hands. Like if you could put him in that role that they brain deadly used Jonnu Smith in, you get Weejan out in space on a swing pass or a quick dump off, he can make people miss and turn it into a big gain. So I think if he's healthy, his position on the team is pretty solid.
Let me ask you this one real quick, and I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm just going to ask you: any chance you take a look at Taysom Hill? Any chance?
No.
Okay.
I mean, where do you fit him in at? He's a 10-year guy. I mean, he's a jack of all trades. You do like that, but right now with this team, I don't see a spot for him. Now, if somebody goes down and he's still available, sure. Personally, I think he's going to be snatched up by Denver probably within the next 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
I think that Sean Payton is going to grab him probably by the end of business tomorrow, if we're being honest. But again, unless somebody goes down, I don't see a need to go out and get anybody right now. But we're putting the pads on, so who knows? Shit happens.
Yeah. So I don't know. If I needed to improve one part of the roster, I think that's where it would be. Maybe just a wide receiver for insurance, bring them in for camp, see what they got. I mean, if you can go get Diggs and bring them in for a camp and just say, hey, you got to earn your way onto this team, I'd be okay with that. I would be. I would be.
Yeah, I just don't know what you're going to be able to get Diggs for. Stephon Diggs right now, I don't see him settling for a vet minimum type contract. And if we're being we can't afford much more than that right now. We're kind of up against it, and they can't go out and spend a lot of money until they get number 24 to put ink to paper.
Yeah, what's going on with that? I
think it's just typical. Like the agents they're all waiting on the other agents, because you got Christian Gonzalez, you got obviously Peasy, and there's one more big corner out there that's in a contract year. So they're all kind of looking at each other, in a 3-way Mexican standoff to see who's going to basically collapse first and set the market. Denzel Ward got paid, in my opinion, overpaid. I know Denzel Ward is a good corner, but for a guy his age to get that kind of money is a little bit ridiculous, but it's Cleveland, so it doesn't surprise me. But I think it's a big waiting game right now as far as what team is going to crack with what corner first and kind of set that market, because regardless of what, your Madden ratings and your, Joe Blow's cornerback rankings are, that's never actually put on a helmet, Joey Porter Jr. is a top 10 corner in the NFL, and the numbers back that up, and he wants to be paid that way. And he probably wants to be paid at least in the top 5, but that top 5 can change depending on what happens with these other 2 guys. So I think right now it's just a waiting game. And the fact that he's on the PUP list, I think that's just another smoke screen because it's a way to hide a guy on the roster without, worrying about it, without people questioning him. I believe because he's on the PUP list, they can't talk to him. Like reporters aren't allowed to ask to talk to him. So I think it's just a big smoke screen and they'll I think it'll get done the first week of September, if I had to guess.
Now,
And it's going to be, I'm still $28 to $30 million.
Do you think he's a better corner than Denzel Ward?
I think he's every bit as good and 6 years younger. So yeah, but I understand Denzel Ward's been doing it for a long time. So I kind of get the fact that they made that kind of offer to him, but yeah, I think if he stays healthy, I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to be a top 5 corner in this league for a long time.
I would agree with you, and I hope that they come to an agreement soon and get PZ signed because we need him. He's our number one corner, hands down. And what did he do? Give up 1 touchdown last year? That's all he gave up?
His rookie year. He hasn't given one up since his rookie year.
So in 3 years, he hasn't given one up?
1 touchdown for his career.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's what a number one corner does.
The disrespect is ridiculous that Joey Porter Jr. is getting for what he's done on the football field. Like he's among the league leaders in passer rating against and yards after catch. Like it's crazy. Our secondary, once they get Porter signed, if they stay healthy between him and Jamel Dean, not to mention on the back end, you got Deshaun Elliott, Jaquan Brisker, Jalen Ramsey roaming around there somewhere. It's going to be insane if they can all stay healthy. Like,
and you stressed about it with your number one offseason signing. I know when we talked about it was Jamel Dean. I know you're huge on him.
Yes.
And you're very excited about Dean. And so am I after watching some highlight tapes or highlights from him from last year from Tampa Bay. I'm really excited to see what he can do. And listen, I know that I kept telling you during the offseason, let's go get Brisker. Let's go get Brisker. Well, if we can get him on a good deal, listen, he's at home. He's on a 1-year prove-it deal. He's at home. He wanted to come to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we got him at a good deal.
Yeah, we now let's see what he can do in the black and gold because, again, you talked about Peasy. Were they D's? Teammates at Penn State. Teammates. Yep. And when you have a teammate that you played with before, the game goes a little bit easier.
Yeah, nobody, like if you watch the pundits and everything, nobody expected Jaquan Brisker to sign for $5 million. Like he was a $10 million player, but he signed with us for, I think, 5.5.
Yes.
So that's why when we talked about this stuff in the offseason, I wrote him off. Like, no, we've got other needs. We don't need to go out and get a $10 million safety, but we can damn sure sign him for 5. I'm stoked about that. And while we're on the secondary, a name that we haven't brought up, who has been on the field as the starting cornerback in Joey Porter Jr.'s absence and is absolutely the star of the defensive side so far in week 1, Asante Samuel Jr. is killing it right now.
I was going to bring that up. We even got him for a vet minimum, and he signed a 1-year team-friendly deal.
Yeah, no, he is he's proven it. Like, if he can stay healthy, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. And that's just another, like, a lot of teams, when they sit their number 1 or number 2, give them a couple plays off, you're kind of at risk. I don't think we're going to have that much risk because Asante Samuel Jr. wants to get paid, and he's playing like it right now in camp. Like, he is all over the field. He's already got, I think, 4 or 5 pass breakups on the number 1 DK. He is showing that he is getting back to his form and getting to where, like, the whole reason that he was the number 1 corner in free agency before it was determined that he had to have neck surgery.
Yeah. And he stressed it enough last year when he came up from the practice squad about how he wanted to be in Pittsburgh from the day he got to their training facility, because while he was still a free agent, he was getting treatment for his neck over at the facility in Pittsburgh. So he talked about that to no belief on how he wanted to be there. So I'm glad we got Asante Samuel back. What is he, 26? He's still pretty young. And at the time before his injury, he was one of the top 5 corners in the league. And we got him. We got him.
He was probably known as the top corner in the free agent market. And then the news broke that he was he had to have the neck fusion surgery. And like you said, he's only 26. Like, he's only going to get better from here if that neck holds up. Like, he is just now entering the prime. Granted, we can't look, let's be realistic. We can't afford to have super studs, all around the defense past this year. If he plays as well as he has been in camp so far, he's going to look to get paid, and that's fine. We'll take advantage of it while we can, but it gives us options. Maybe we can find a way to get out of the Jamil Dean contract or whatever the case may be and keep Asante. Or the other good thing that could come out of all this, if he goes, let's say Asante Samuel comes in and plays as primarily the third corner, but earns himself first corner money, and he goes and signs a free agent deal, give us those comp picks, baby. That's the beauty of it. Same thing with Spencer Anderson at right guard, has shown that it's probably going to be his job to lose, but he's in a contract year as well. And when you got a guy like Jennings Dunker back there, if it looks like he's going to be ready to take over, maybe you let Spencer Anderson go in free agency, and then you start stacking those comp picks in a year when you can actually go get a quarterback if it's needed.
And also D's too. Like, it just came out this week. A former Steeler was released that played on the defensive side of football. Fan favorite, Beanie Bishop. Never know if he doesn't get picked up by another team if Pittsburgh brings him back, maybe later in camp to see what he's got. But Pittsburgh's known for bringing former players back and giving them another opportunity. So I like the depth that we have right now. Not saying that we need to sign Beanie right now, but just a name that's out there to pay attention to. And I would pay attention to Landon Roberts as well, because he's still out there and unsigned, and I don't know why he hasn't been signed yet.
Yeah. Malik Harrison is probably going to be a cut candidate. I don't know how many linebackers they're going to keep. It's, it all goes back to quarterback as far as what's going to happen. We're going to keep, I would say, a bare minimum of 9 offensive linemen. But Broderick Jones could be making that decision tough, and they may have to go with 10, or they're going to have to make a tough decision there. The quarterbacks are making it tough. Dalen Everett, also, while we're on corners, Dalen Everett has been a star in the making as a rookie, saying that he's picked up everything, is jumping right in, playing with the ones, looking good. That's why I kind of shook my head when you mentioned Beanie Bishop. I just don't see, barring injury, I don't see a spot to even bring anybody in. Like, we are so deep right now at defensive back, both corner and safety. Well, safety still.
Well, I wasn't saying bring him in. I'm just saying to Deborah, the name out there just to pay attention to, maybe later on in camp if somebody gets hurt, whatever. That's all I was bringing Beanie for.
But at the same time, who cut him? Wasn't it was it the Giants?
The Saints cut him.
Okay. If you get cut in week 1 of the Saints training camp, maybe there's a sign that, the problem with Beanie is he could only play the slot. And that, to me, just going off of what McCarthy and those guys have been saying since day one, that eliminates players like Beanie Bishop. Mike McCarthy wants guys that you're not a left slot corner. You're a corner, and you're going to play. You have to know them all. And so I think that's going to eliminate those specialty kind of players. McCarthy wants guys that can come in and just be plugged in wherever you get in, where you fit in, not get in where you only know one position and you're done. Unless you're a kicker, that doesn't apply to the Mike McCarthy teams.
Would you say that there's only one position that is certain that's not going to lose a starting job? Well, 2. That would be Aaron Rodgers and Chris Boswell. They're not losing their starting job.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's more than that. but you got Frazier ain't going anywhere at center. DK,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
TJ
there's a few, but there's a lot of guys, yes, that we have depth. We can plug in somebody else and not really take too much of a step back. But yeah, there are a few guys I like, Aaron and Boz and DK. Obviously, we missed DK when he went out, but if that scenario happened this year, it won't be as bad because we've actually got a wide receiver room now that can step up and make a few plays. Whereas last year, Calvin Austin was our go-to guy, and no knock on Cal because he did good things when he got the ball in his hands, but he's not a number one, 10, 12 targets a game receiver the way DK is, and the way that Michael Pittman can be if he has to be for a couple of games.
I think Michael Pittman is a very underrated signing. I really do. I think he's going to help this team out dramatically. He's a top 10 wide receiver in the league, and you put him and DK together. When DK was in Seattle, he was a top 5, if not a top 3 wide receiver. And I think Pittman's a top 10. So you got 2 top 10 wide receivers on your roster. Somebody's going to get double teamed and somebody's going to get left open. That's exactly what
I think Pittman can be more of a one, like an every down, Mr. Reliable. I think he's more of that than DK. DK is going to be your big play guy. He's going to, wow us from time to time. But on 3rd and 7, when Aaron is under pressure and he's got to throw a ball into triple coverage, Michael Pittman will die to make that catch. And as dynamic as DK Metcalf is, he's not that guy. But Michael Pittman, like, literally, he puts his life on the line to come down with the football.
And he's got the Hines Ward mentality. He's a hard-nosed type of wide receiver. He likes to block and he likes to hit. So I'm glad that we got Michael Pittman on our team. I really
Jeremy Bernard is in that same mold too. He's a physical guy. He's not a burner. He's not a guy that is going to just run away from people. But when he gets the ball in his hands, he gets yards after the catch. He's not afraid to get physical, and he loves to get out there and block. Again, I can't. It's hard to contain my excitement for how much different I believe that this team is going to be from top to bottom.
I'm right there with you. I'm excited about it. All I'm asking is just win one more game than you did last year. Get us into the playoffs, because in the playoffs, it's a totally different story. Get behind Rodgers like you guys got behind Jerome. This is his last year. Lead him to the promised land and let's go contend for a Super Bowl. Not to say that we are a Super Bowl contending team, but this team has it in it. It's got the highest paid defense in the league. Listen, I want you to have a better season offensively, and they will, than they did last year, and defensively, and they will. I want this team to be hungry to get sacks. I want this team to have anywhere from 45 to 50 sacks combined this year. And if you have that, you're probably a top 3, top 4 defense in the league.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think of the Steelers 6?
The Steelers 6? What is that?
This is basically, it's Mike McCarthy's philosophy with what he's doing in Pittsburgh, and they've already called it the Steelers 6. It's 6 key things that they want to emphasize on this team and throughout this camp.
Okay, educate me on that, because I don't know nothing about it. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, they've been talking about it for the last few days now. Ball security, blocking, big plays, finish pursuit, mannerisms, disguises, and then tackling and breaking tackles. Those are the 6 points of emphasis that this whole camp and team philosophy is about right now.
Well, if we can convert on 5 out of 6 of them, I think that we'll have a great season. I do.
I do like the fact that blocking and breaking tackle or tackling and breaking tackles is one of the Steelers 6, yet they're not tackling in live.
And listen, if you go back, I think we also talked about this earlier on in the season when free agency, when we signed Rico Dowdle. He's a big contributor of backs that like to break tackles, even better than Kenny Gainwell. Am I going to miss Kenny Gainwell? Absolutely, because him and Rodgers had chemistry. But Rico, he knows this McCarthy offense, and you put him with Aaron Rodgers out of the backfield. I am excited about Rico Dowdle because a couple years ago, he single-handedly in Dallas beat us. He single-handedly beat us.
Yeah, he's actually trending towards being the one back. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be the first back out on the field every single game, but just what we've seen so far in week 1 of camp, Rico is on the field. They're saying probably 60 to 65% of the time over Warren's, 30 to 35 or 35-40.
Well, I mean, if you can get Rico anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe 18 snaps a game, and you can get Jalen anywhere from 17 to about 21, 22, I'm cool with that. And maybe work in Caleb Johnson with 5 or 6, because again, we forget that we have him on the roster. He's 3rd round draft pick. So this is a make or break year for him.
Yeah. Well, I think it's make or break for potentially all 3 of them. I think that they're going to, obviously you're going to see a lot of Rico and you're going to see a lot of Jalen, but I think they're going to mix in Caleb too, because they want to know what they're going to have going forward. And I think 2 of these 3 guys are going to be in the plans beyond 2026, and how they perform throughout the rest of this camp and obviously into the season is going to determine, which one of those guys they send packing. As much as I love Jalen Warren, when he gets a head of steam going, he's an elite back. The problem with Jalen Warren is he has not been able to stay healthy in his career. He's missed at least a game or 2, I think, every year that he's been with Pittsburgh. When he gets the ball and he gets his feet wet, gets a little bit sweat going, he's tough to bring down, and I like him, but I think that they are going to at least try Caleb and see where they're at with that, because they are going to have to start paying some people. You've got that offensive line is coming up between Frazier, McCormick, and Fatano. You're gonna have to pay those guys. And they look like they could be an elite offensive line once they figure out the other side, obviously. But you're gonna have to start getting cheap in some other positions. Once that Super Bowl window opens, when you get your quarterback, or decide if one of the guys that you have right now is your quarterback, remains to be seen. I'm seeing good things from Will Howard. Drew Aller is basically what you would expect out of a 3rd round rookie project. He looks elite, and then he looks like a guy that has basically had his mechanics rebuilt. He threw a 40-yard pass on 4th and 10 in a 2-minute drill the other day, literally dropped it in a bucket, back shoulder throw. So he's got flashes, and you can see when the ball comes out of his hand that his arm talent is absolutely elite. But he's got to work on the feet. He's got to work on the decision-making and making the right reads quickly. But I'm encouraged by what I've seen from him so far.
You're talking about Will Howard?
No, Drew Aller.
Okay, Drew Aller.
Yeah. Will Howard's looking great too. All the reports that I'm seeing, all the videos that come out on the daily, he is taking that step forward. Again, he's got a ways to go. We got to see him in actual game action. But as of right now, all words coming out of camp are that he is at least putting up the fight. Like he's going to make it tougher for them to make a decision on whether or not to keep 3 or 4 or try and sneak him on the practice squad, which I think right now is probably their plan. But if he does too good, then they're going to have to make some decisions, whether they keep 4 or try and trade or let Mason go, get on with his life's work.
Yeah. They might even trade Howard. You never know. Never know. Somebody might be looking for a young quarterback who they can groom. I mean, I'd love to see Will on this team because, again, like we talked about last year, just give the kid an opportunity. That's all I want to see. I want to see him on the field and let him throw the football because, again, Dees, we talked about this, I think it was last week or the week before. Rodgers is probably not taking any snaps during preseason or preseason games, and neither is Mason. You already know what you got with Mason. He'll probably play the first series of preseason, maybe first couple plays, and then it's going to be a very, very heavy dose of Drew Aller and a very heavy dose of Will Howard to see what they got with both of them guys, and I'm okay with that. But I just want Will to get his fair shot. I don't want people to count him out now. I would like to see him maybe get a chance in the regular season if he's the number 2 quarterback. Down the road, if we need a game at the end of the season or we're in the playoffs, let him start, let him see what he's got. Just give the kid a chance. I want to see what he's got.
Does Rodgers die in your scenario? Because that's the only fucking way he's getting on the field.
No, I'm saying this is if we're in playoff, if we clinch the division and we got a bye week or we're playing the next week, then you give either Aller or you give Howard the keys to the ship for that last game of the season. I'm just saying that right now. That
everything is decided, I'm not opposed to that. Okay. I think we're going to see Mason probably start at least 2 of the preseason games. I don't think he's going to play a lot. Like first preseason game, he'll probably only play 1 series, maybe 2, and then it's going to be all Will and Drew. And that's probably what you're going to see in the second game as well. And then in the third game, it's probably going to be Will getting the start with Drew playing 3 quarters and Mason as basically your emergency, as long as neither one of those guys get hurt. I think they're going to give him a shot. They're going to get him out there and see what they can do in a live ball situation. And that's what they have to do. Keeping 4 quarterbacks is going to be tough. I mean, the season is just too long. And injuries and everything and situational substitutions, it's tough to burn a roster spot on a 4th quarterback that is never going to sniff the field. I mean, hell, your 3rd string quarterback in a perfect world is never going to sniff the field. So imagine trying to do that with a 4th as well. That's crazy.
I agree with you, D's, but Mason's a good backup in the league, and either he'll be on the Steelers roster or he'll find a new home this year because Mason's a true pro. He's probably one of the top 5, if not 10, backup quarterbacks in the league. So
well, and that's the whole reason why Will has to leave absolutely zero doubt. If there's even a shadow of a doubt that Will Howard can't come in and lead this team to a win against any team in the NFL, then they're not letting Mason go. Because at the end of the day, you do have a 42 going on 43-year-old quarterback. And if he were to go down for a game or 2 and you're in a fight, you have to trust that number 2 guy to go in there and not lose a game. And right now they don't have that with Will Howard, but they haven't seen it. So that's why this preseason is so important. And that's why the chips that are stacked against Will right now are enormous. Not saying he can't do it, and maybe even the Steelers might even want him to do it, but right now, gun to their heads, if they had to make their final 53 today, Will Howard's gone. But we'll see. We still got 3 weeks to go. Let's get him out there on the field, see what's going to happen.
All right, D's, we are up at 11 o'clock. You know what that means. Show is over. We will see you guys next week. But listen, real quick, make sure you guys stick with us at 12 o'clock. Myself, Clifton Oliver, the debut of Beyond the Surface, mental and physical health podcast. We'll talk about some things. We'll dig deep inside your guys' brains, some questions that maybe some things you probably don't know about me, some things you probably don't know about Clifton. But we're back here at noon right on the Red Line Network. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. D's, send us out, man.
All right, folks. We appreciate you, of course. Next week, we plan to be back here, and pads go on Monday. We're going to see some action, going to see what's going on. And the picture will start to become a little more clear. So we will catch you guys next week, same time. Also, don't forget to check us out. Check our other shows out. Redline Radio Network on YouTube, on Facebook. Give us a like, follow, share, all that good stuff. Always prefer you to watch us on YouTube, but check the schedules out, see what our other great shows that we got coming up. We will see you guys next week.
And go Steelers.
Go Steelers.